Hey, what is up guys, GuitarRock here, welcome back to another Brown Dust 2 video. Alright, so if you guys are not aware, we have a couple of new potential liberation units coming into the game in April 10th. So a little bit late when I make this video, April 11 I believe was the patch. So let's talk about all of these characters that got their potential liberation, right? We have Grey, Lackless, Liyan, Bernie, Cry, Fred, Jint, Remnant, Carlson, Lydia, Richnet, Julie, Elpis. So let's talk a little bit more about all of these characters, give you guys my perspective etc, right? First things first, let's talk about Elpis, because she's the free character currently featured. If you guys haven't watched my previous video, you get her for free. Not just one copy, but you get 5 whole copies of her. So make sure you guys take advantage of that, right? Now the truth is, while she is free, and she is going to be a very strong character because she's a supporter. A lot of the supporters in this game, they don't really need good gears. You can see, you can just put trash gears on them and they will still work to their utmost potential. Because, right, you can see, all she does is she gives magic attack and she also increases crit rate. And this is going to be a flat amount %. It doesn't scale off gear or anything like that. So that's the cool thing. However, she also has potential liberation. Now if you click on this one, right, you can see her potential liberation is going to give her 10% more magic attack. Now, is this going to be worth it? Now, that depends on two equations or two sides of the things where you gotta pay very close attention to. Number one, if you do not have this character right here, which is Helena, right? For those of you who maybe you have Helena, so Helena is going to be the best magic supporter, alright, in the game. She basically provides a little bit more. So this is what Helena plus 5 can do. You can see magic attack 75% and crit rate 50%, and also a little bit of healing. So she does everything more. The buffs overall is like slightly more, but she lasts for the lasting of these buff effects is a little bit less. It's 4 turns as opposed to 6 turns from Elpis. So if you have Helena do not have potential liberation yet. As you can see, we don't have any potential liberation yet, so we can't say for sure if Helena is gonna get a better potential liberation in the future or not. But if you have Helena already at a relatively high skill level plus 3 onwards, I would say you don't really have to invest that much in Elpis. But that being said, I don't think it's a waste if you do invest in her and try to like potentially liberate her, because she's a 4-star. She only gives you, you know, she only takes one of that thing, I forgot what it's called, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So the one that you can get from every single event, which is going to be so how you want to get those things is from every single event shop. The Tear of Goddess, I keep forgetting the name. Yes, so she's only going to use 1 Tear of Goddess as opposed to 3, right? So yeah, I'll make a separate guide talking about the events, ideally what you want to buy from the event, etc. But the truth is, Elpis, you know, I would say not too bad. Alright, needs 1 Tear of Goddess. If you want to, you can invest in her. If not, it's not that big of a deal. She's already pretty strong. That 10% you probably won't ever need it unless you're chasing like some specific high score and stuff. So let's talk about other characters. Let's just get the 3 stars out of the way first. First up, we have Julie. Now, Julie is just straight up trash. I'm just gonna say it, alright? Not trying to offend anyone out there. Alright, but she is probably one of the worst characters in the game. Don't worry about it, alright? So, the truth is, she's a 3-star, so this is what she can do. She heals allies, 55% of magic attack every turn for 6 turns. The truth is, healing is not really something that you need in this game, alright? If your characters die, just go to the inn, sleep, pay a little bit of gold, like 300 gold. It's not that big of a deal, alright? So you don't really need a healer. So she doesn't give anything besides heals, alright? So what does she gain after potential liberation? More healing. Ooh, who cares, right? The truth is, at least for now, I don't see the purpose of her existence yet. So the healing from 55% scaling of her magic attack go up to 155%. She is just super niche. So I wouldn't like bother with her for the time being. Now next up we have Richnet. Now this one we can talk a little bit more in detail about. So I am a big fan of Richnet. And a lot of players actually, for a lot of players, she's actually one of the better characters as well. So Richnet can apply this thing called Concentrated Fire. Okay, so Concentrated Fire is if the enemy don't have taunt or anything, you just apply Concentrated Fire, you are going to be able to prioritize on that particular target. Richnet and Zenith are the 2 characters in the game that has this ability. Now, if you don't have Zenith, some of you guys don't really have access to Zenith, you just started the game recently, Richnet is a free character that you can try for the Concentrated Fire. Alright, so it is going to be Pretty decent, 6 turns of concentrated fire. So what does she get out of, you know, potential liberation? You can see she gets more damage. Alright, she is going to be able to hit the enemy for more damage, and she is going to be a 1 SP character. Not too bad actually. Alright, 1 SP, you basically do damage and also apply concentrated fire. Zenith is still going to be better because Zenith can apply concentrated fire and damage, increase damage taken. So Zenith is a upgrade to Richnet, which is a 3-star. Obviously, like, it's going to be, that's the case, but she is going to be a budget version of, if you want to try to apply or bypass, you know, some of the annoying Fiend bosses, like they have like certain parts, weak parts at the back, you can use Richnet for that particular purpose. Alright, so you can be smart with her. Next up, we have Lydia, which I believe is this character. So again, 3-star, super niche character. Most likely, a lot of players are probably not going to build her that much, but the truth is, she can be +5 easily. If you need a water type character, she's there. 3 SP, she does a scaling of 350% of her attack, and this goes up to 530%. Alright, not bad. A lot of damage increase right there. That is like super big jump, right? Increased by 180%. Huh. Very, very interesting. I would say if you are lacking in water type damage dealer, for sure. But right now we are already on a different season. Last season was a water season where water characters get boosts. Okay, so next up, we already checked out Richnet, Julie, Elpis, and Lydia. So let's have a look at Carlson. Carlson is a defender. Wow. That I believe a lot of players get early on. So he has this annoying ability where he can decrease incoming physical damage by 65%. Now, what does this improve when you potentially liberate Carlson? The SP from 2 SP becomes 1 SP. Not too bad. So the weakness of Carlson is the biggest downside of using Carlson compared to other defenders in the game is that he doesn't have the ability to taunt. Alright, taunt is better if you have something like Lackless or even Seer or even any of the 5-star defender that can taunt and apply reduce incoming physical reduce damage, right? So for Carlson, number one, he doesn't have taunt, so you still have to position it in a way that the enemy is going to hit you in that particular line of sight. That's number one. Number two is in PvP you can't do that, right? Because you can't know who the enemy you're fighting against, so it's going to be completely random. So that's where characters with taunt is dominating the PvP scene right now. Number three, you know, since he doesn't have taunt, he's useless in PvP. The third weakness is it only helps decrease incoming physical damage if the enemy is like magical damage. Therefore, he's going to be weak in certain scenarios, right? That's something that you want to take into consideration. So it does mention right here, so decrease incoming physical damage by 65%. So there are some characters, for example, Seer, which I think is a very, very good defender overall. Let me see if I can find her. Seer is a very good defender and she has the ability... right here, you can see, right? Decrease incoming damage by 40%. And when it says incoming damage, that means this applies to both physical and magical. Alright, compared to Carlson's one, which only applies to like physical. It mentioned right there. So no magical, he's still going to suck against magical enemies. So he is a 3-star though, so not going to complain too much. Therefore, good for early on, right, where a lot of the enemies are physical based, but later on, you might want to consider replacing him, which is just like how most games are. They don't give you like strong characters for free, but definitely he can be still used if you are able to tackle certain content and bypass certain physical enemies. Next up, let's talk about Remnant, which I think it's this character. I don't remember if you get him for free or not. The game has been out for a while. I remember he was one of the earlier characters that you encounter in the story. But he's a 3-star, so you do get him eventually. So Remnant right here, as you can see, 3 SP, 3 turns. Alright, attack 2 times. Can also apply a debuff of decreasing attack by 50%. Not too bad. So what do you get when you potentially liberate him? You get slightly more attack. From 250% to 320%. Pretty minimal, I would say. Not a priority in my humble opinion. And then there's also this character called Jint. Now, if you are building a character, this could be perhaps one of the better characters to consider building right now because this season is win season. Okay, so you can see 3 SP, do 250%, decrease attack of the enemy. And then 250 become 320%. Alright, not bad if you potentially liberate him. He's a 3-star. Alright, going to be much easier compared to most characters. Next up, we also have Fred. Now, Fred is one of the better characters that you get early on. I still use him until today. Now, why is Fred so good? Fred is a battery unit. Battery units, that means they give back SP, alright, which is very, very important when you are trying to fight Fiend Hunter bosses. So you can see he's 1 SP, but when you use his skill, you get back 4 SP. So it's like 3 SP battery, right? So give you back 3 SP because use 1, acquire 4. Deal physical damage, knock back 2 squares, blah, 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 and those are not so important. It doesn't do that much damage. And then it does deal impact 50%, 50%. So what does he get? In comparison, damage increased from 50 to 70%. Okay, I don't think that's a priority at all. I was hoping he would give more SP or anything along those lines, but it doesn't improve upon that. The damage is very insignificant. When you use Fred, you're mostly using him for the battery, and he is going to be one of the better characters that a lot of players have access to for battery units wise, right? If you don't have access to, for example, Bunny Eclipse, Nightmare Bunny Eclipse, or Lucretia, definitely Fred is the characters that you consider using. Now let's talk about Cry. Cry is one of the 4-star that is extremely strong until today. He is still one of my recommendations for reroll targets. If you are rerolling alongside with early on, if you can get him early on, would be nice. He's a 4-star as opposed to being a 3-star, so a little bit harder to obtain. 5 stars are still the highest rarity, but if you can get like Justia and Cry, or maybe like, I forgot who you can get early on. I would say Justia is one of the better one. Or if you're going for Magic team, consider a Sherazade and Cry. But either way, right, Cry is going to be one of the equation, considering that, you know, if you can get his weapon along the way, would be nice as well. So let's talk about what can Cry do or obtain after potential liberation. So at +5, you can see he does a lot of damage, skills of 200%, and also decreased defense. Very, very good. So it's also a cross tile, which is very strong. So this is going to basically be from these two, from 200% to 215%. Okay. So you can see the developers clearly are trying to balance things out. The developers are not trying to like give him like even more decreased SP or even like the decreased defense or anything. Just 15% more multiplier, which I think is very balanced. Alright, it's nothing crazy, nothing to write home about, just a little bit more damage, which is like whatever, right? I don't think it's that crazy. So how about his other costume? His other costume, it's also a relatively good battery unit. It gives back 3 SP, you use 1 SP, so you get back 2 SP, right? And then you can push 2 targets, knock back 100%, right? And then this is 130% scalings of DOT. So let's have a look. What do we get afterwards? So it looks like, oh, it's a range increase. Okay, now that is pretty interesting. So it looks like you are able to increase your range by 1 tile. So this is quite cool. That means you can position him anywhere on the map, either on the most left or most right, and still hit all 3 tiles. I like it. I think this is pretty good. Good way to like make him viable in a way. So Cry, decent if you are going for the student costume. The other one is 15% increase, not that big of a deal. One more is Bernie. Now Bernie is I believe, if you play the story, she is going to be Grey's sister, right? Let's have a look. So also a very interesting character, 3 SP, but she also used 3 SP. So she doesn't really battery you in a way. She does damage, alright, 110%. Can also apply silence. So what does she gain? Nothing much other than the 1 turn cooldown. Okay, kind of trash if you ask me. 1 turn cooldown from 3 turns cooldown. It's not that big of a deal. She doesn't have more than 1 costume, so I don't think she's going to be anyone's priority anytime soon, sadly. It doesn't really do anything much. And then next up we have Liyan, which is this girl right here. Again, she's similar to Julie. She has an issue where she heals, and on top of healing, she also have removed DOT, which can be good, I guess, but super niche, right? Let's have a look. So now she has an additional stat for 4 turns, creates energy guard equal to 150% of your magic attack. Now that is interesting. That is going to be very, very interesting. Now, Liyan, she does, however, have an issue where her healing and the energy guard scales off magic attack. Now, if it scales off magic attack, that means you have to have good gears for you to be able to have more energy guard. So something that you have to be very, very cautious with. So that means her gears are going to be more important compared to most other characters, right? Where some characters, when they buff, it doesn't, it doesn't scale off your gear, but she does. So something to keep in mind. So I would say Liyan 1 is pretty good. For 2 SP, she can do quite a lot. Energy guard can be very good, alright, if you don't have, I already have Red Riding Hood Raw. I think she's one of the better characters, but if you don't have that, yeah, Liyan is going to be something that you can consider. Next up, let's talk about the 2 5-star characters. Alright, first up is Lackless. Now, Lackless is a wind elemental character. Now, she does have 2 costumes currently, so let's have a look. What is the first costume, right? So this one, at +5, you are able to, 3 SP, you are able to counter the enemy for 4 turns, and then it creates an energy guard. So what do you get? So the counter goes up to 40%, okay? The energy guard goes up to from 125% to 160%. Very interesting. So let me guess. I'm trying to see. So she got 3 nodes. One here which gives 15% more. One more here which gives 20% more. And one more here which gives 5% more counter. I would say that's pretty decent, right? But is it going to be that useful overall? I guess the energy guard, yeah, for survivability. I don't think the counter is that important because she's a defender. Sure, sometimes she can one-shot enemy based off the counter in PvP, but that's going to depend on how strong, how serious you are in PvP if you're using her. Okay, so let's have a look at this one, the other one, which I think is more important. Now, why is this more important? Because this is the one with taunt, alright? Ideally, when you have taunt, you are attracting or you're provoking the enemies to attack you instead. So this one is going to be like the priority. But the problem with this one is 5 SP is really high. So let's see if they fix that issue. Oh, now that issue of hers is now fixed. 5 SP is now 3 SP. Now 3 SP for a taunt is really good. Really good. Alright, and also what else? From 75% damage, incoming damage reduction to 85%. So now, I would say this is going to be the one that you want to go for. Holy, now that is what I'm talking about, right? That is going to be very, very, very important moving forward. I do think that as long as you have that, that's going to be able to help you a lot. So, I would say, yeah, this is the better costume. Killer Doll Lackless, I think is the best one out of this bunch. 2 SP reduction is going to change a lot for the course of the battle, especially if you have other healer, alongside with that. But let's have a look at the last 5-star character, Gray. Gray is finally getting the recognition that he deserves. Do you guys know that Gray is the only character that are both physical and magical? How many of you guys are aware of that? So look at this. This is physical. Alright, you can see it scales off physical. And look at this. This is also physical. And okay, my bad. I forgot that I have one. There's one Gray costume that I do not have. And that's going to be the magical costume. And which one is that, you may ask? This one. Alright, so you can see deals physical damage off of target's magic attack. So it is going to be a bit weird. It's not really magical, but it scales off enemies' magic attack, which is very, very interesting. Alright, it's just a different approach of a character. So this is the one that I don't have. So we gotta have a look at all of this. So let's have a look at this particular one. Okay, so what does he get? 2 SP, 5 turn, 65%. Okay. So number 1, the tile range increase. That is really good. So now you get cross tile. Number 2, from 65% goes up to 125%. Holy, that is a lot of damage. That is a lot of damage because it's double the scaling. Almost double. That is crazy. Wow. And then you also get DOT as well. Very, very strong. Very, very strong character. Very strong costume for sure. So this one is for the default one, the Sharpshooter of the Mist. Okay, how about this one? This one I do not have. but let's have a look. This one hits every 3x3 tile range. 4 SP 5 turns. Becomes 3 SP. And then we get way more damage from 25% to 65%. 40% increase. Okay, so way more usable. Definitely, there's a very good tile range as well for this particular one. If you have that particular one maxed out, that's going to be pretty good. Next up, we have the B rank manager. So this one is 2 SP. This one does the least amount of damage, I believe, but it also has decreased defense. So ideally, you start off with this to basically decrease the enemy's defense first for 2 turns. And that still remains the same. The turn also reduced. The turn usually isn't that important compared to SP decrease, because most of the time you run out of SP first before being able to spam your skill turn every single few turns, right? So 100%, okay, is still the same, not too broken in that sense. It's pretty balanced. And the last one, I believe this one you obtained for free, 1 copy during the pool party summer event last year. So let's have a look. So at +5, you increase your crit rate and crit damage by 50%. And then you attack 3 times, scale off 100%. So I can see the 4 SP become 3 SP, and the 100% become 120%. Okay, so I'm going to say this default one is the best one out of all these costumes. It gives the most increase. Even though there's no SP reduction, but it's already very good, right? 2 SP for this one. You get double the damage. That is a lot of damage. That is a lot of damage. And yeah, I believe this one and the Lackless one, that one is also kind of insane. I can't believe Lackless is... I doubt that Lackless is going to dominate the PvP scene because it's being dominated by Grand Hilda right now. She is still going to be more like easier to use, right? Because she has preemptive strike going on. I can't seem to find my Lackless for whatever reason. She should be somewhere. Okay, there. But still, I think she's you know, this particular one or this particular one. That 3 SP is going to make her way more usable than before. So yeah, I think she's going to be able to, hopefully, we'll see how it goes with the current Fiend boss. I will definitely do a strat for that particular boss when it comes out. Yeah, that's pretty much the potential liberation for all these characters. Grey, Lackless, these 2 should be the priority. The rest... oh yeah, Liyan one is pretty good as well because Energy Guard. But for me, I already have Red Riding Hood Rao. Don't really need that Energy Guard. Also, Diana's other costume can also give Energy Guard, and she makes more sense because you're going to be using her in every single Fiend boss anyways. So there's no need for you to bring Liyan in unless you need healing. But still, yeah, there's a lot of characters that can do that as well. So those are the priority for the timing. I'm not sure if I want to make like a lot of people have been asking me to make a tier list and stuff. It's hard to do tier list because every single patch they introduce new characters to get potential liberation. So if I make tier list, it will end up harming a lot of you guys than benefiting you guys, because if you guys look at it and then you stop and then next week there's an update and then you build the character and then now there's a better character that came out, you can see how that's going to affect some of you guys, especially for people that are not really following my videos. Not everyone watch my videos every time. Some people just watch one video once a month, and it will harm those people more than it helps them when I make tier lists for game like this where constant updates. Alright, so that's going to be it for this particular video. I think it's better that we keep it this way. I analyze and make videos for, you know, stuff like that when they come out, so we get a better idea on who ideally, you know, maybe I'll just consider making the top 3 priority in case you guys are, you know, looking into building. Like for example, in the last patch, Olstein is super broken now. I used to think that, I used to always say that he's trash, don't build him. But based on his potential liberation recently, he got like super upgraded to like a powerhouse. So those things can really change, man. These things can really change how a character works. You know, that's just going to be how it is. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Make sure you guys stay tuned, subscribe if you guys haven't already, give this video a like. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.